Close your eyes and step quietly into the year 1885. The street outside is hushed, save for the faint rattle of a cart's wheels over cobblestone. We pass through a doorway, polished by decades of hands, into the heart of the home. Not the grand dining room, nor the formal parlor, but here, the warm, living breath of the house, the kitchen. The air is warm, with the scent of bread cooling on the table, and faintly sweet from the jam cooling in glass jars by the window. Iron pots hang from their hooks. The fire glows gently under the blackened range. In this kitchen, life unfolds in 100 quiet ways. From the scrape of a wooden spoon to the clink of porcelain cups on a pine table. And every object, every pot, every jar has a story, woven into the rhythm of everyday life. Tonight, we will wander through this kitchen together. We will not rush. We will notice every detail. The worn handles, the small chips in the china, the way sunlight catches on copper. We will let the past speak through the humble tools of a Victorian home. So, let the kettle boil and take a seat at the wooden table. The stories are about to begin. The hearth is still warm from the early morning fire. Ash lies in soft, pale drifts beneath the iron grate, and above it, the range waits, blackened by years of steady use, its surface dulled where countless kettles have rested. This is the heart of the kitchen. It is not just for cooking. It is for warmth, for drying damp coats after a walk in the rain, for pulling up a chair on a winter night and resting your feet on the hearthstone while tea simmers quietly in the pot. The range itself is a marvel of the age, a proud product of the industrial century. Gone are the open flames of centuries past. Here, iron doors conceal the fire, and hot plates above it spread the heat evenly. It stands sturdy and immovable, its weight measured not in pounds, but in the unspoken years of service it will give to this household. A range like this is not bought lightly. It is expected to last a lifetime. Look closer. You can see the places where the blacking has worn thin, where the iron gleams faintly from daily polishing. A cloth kept nearby is dedicated to this task alone. Every week, the range is blacked with stove polish, a ritual both practical and proud. Above the range, hooks hold an assortment of tools, long-handled spoons, iron trivets, a poker for tending the fire. Each tool has a place and is returned to it without thought. The kitchen's order depends on such habits. Listen closely. The range speaks in sounds as familiar as breathing. The low hiss of steam from a kettle. The gentle click as iron expands in the heat. A faint, comforting crackle from the firebox. In the mornings, the fire is coaxed back to life with dry kindling and yesterday's embers. The first task of the day, before bread is sliced, before tea is poured, is to warm the house through the range. Through the day, it will host a steady parade of pots and pans, soups simmering slowly, bread baking behind the heavy oven door, and on some afternoons, a simple kettle of water, kept warm for tea at any moment. It is the quiet anchor of the home, unmoving, reliable, gathering the family in its warmth without calling for attention. Here, in the glow of the hearth, life feels measured, steady, and safe. Copper. Its warm, reddish glow catches the morning light, softened by 1,000 gentle polishings. Hanging neatly above the range, these pots are not simply tools. They are long cherished companions to the cook. Each one is a little different. A deep stew pot, blackened at its base. A shallow pan, edges rolled and smooth from years of handling. They bear marks, small dents, scratches, and a faint patina that tells of countless meals prepared. Beneath them sits the iron kettle. Its stout body is seasoned from decades of use, its handle smoothed by hundreds of lifts. It hums softly when the water inside nears the boil, a sound that means tea will soon be poured. These vessels require care. They are washed, never scrubbed too harshly, and dried completely before being returned to their place. Copper, especially, is polished with patience, a cloth moving in small circles, bringing back the quiet gleam. On colder days, a large soup pot might be set to simmer from morning until evening. Its lid lifts now and then, releasing fragrant steam into the air. Broth, onions, herbs, the slow blending of flavors. The smaller pans have their own roles, warming milk, melting butter, cooking porridge until it thickens just right. Each size, each shape, is chosen for a particular purpose and used accordingly. Kettles, too, are not all the same. The everyday kettle sits upon the range, its purpose plain and constant. But a finer one, polished, with a graceful spout, is kept for serving tea when guests arrive. When water is poured, it is done with quiet care. The sound of the stream into the cup is a small comfort in itself. Familiar, gentle, a sign that all is in order. And so, pots, pans, and kettles become not only tools of the kitchen, but keepers of its rhythm. Each has its role, its own small history, its own place in the story of the home. Laid neatly in the drawer are spoons, not the gleaming stainless steel of our time, but the warm, silvery glow of pewter and the soft gleam of well-polished silver. Each one rests in its place, arranged by size, awaiting the day's work. Beside them, knives with bone handles lie in a gentle row. The handles are smooth to the touch, from years of being held, washed, and held again. Each blade has been sharpened so often that the edge curves slightly differently than when it was new. On the wall hangs a set of wooden spoons, their surfaces worn satin smooth from stirring soups, scraping sauces, and folding batter. They are simple, but no kitchen is complete without them. In another corner, a mortar and pestle rests upon a shelf. The stone is cool and heavy, its bowl faintly rough inside, perfect for grinding spices, crushing garlic, or mixing herbs into pastes. Beside it sits the rolling pin. Turned from a single piece of hardwood, its surface is pale from flour dustings and faintly scored with lines from decades of use. It has rolled countless pie crusts, biscuits, and breads. And here, a set of tongs, iron, and unadorned. They lift hot coals in winter and serve meat from the spit in summer. The hinge creaks softly when opened, a sound as familiar as the clink of a cup on a saucer. Hooks by the fire hold a ladle, its deep bowl perfect for serving soups and broths. The handle is long enough to keep the cook's hand away from the heat, yet balanced so that it moves easily in the pot. In the corner of the table stands the butter churn, a tall, sturdy vessel with a worn wooden handle. It works slowly, steadily, turning cream into butter with the rhythmic push and pull of the dasher. Each tool, whether fine silver fork or humble wooden spoon, is part of a larger harmony. They do not compete, but work together, each fulfilling its quiet role in the day's rhythm. Against the far wall, a line of shelves holds the quiet heart of the kitchen. Jars, tins, and boxes, each with its own place, each with its own history, stand in still, watchful order. The jars are made of thick glass, their surfaces slightly rippled from the way they were blown. Inside, soft shapes rest. Flour pale as morning fog, sugar glistening like fresh frost, rice like tiny ivory beads. A tin of tea sits close at hand, its painted surface faded by years of being lifted, opened, and closed. When the lid is removed, the air carries a quiet scent, earthy, a little floral, the smell of comfort waiting to be brewed. Beside it is a jar of preserves. The glass glows faintly with the color of summer, strawberries caught at their ripest, held in a slow suspension of sugar and sunlight. Its lid is sealed with wax, waiting for the day when winter needs a taste of warmth. Further down the shelf, a small wooden box holds spices. Its compartments are shallow but carefully measured, each holding a different hue and fragrance. Deep red paprika, golden turmeric, the pale brown of ground cinnamon. The shelves themselves are worn but sturdy. Every edge is rounded from years of contact, and the wood holds a faint scent, a mingling of herbs, flour dust, and the ghost of firewood smoke. Beneath the shelves, a row of hooks cradles cloth sacks. They sway slightly when touched, the grain inside shifting in soft waves. These hold beans, lentils, and other provisions that last the long winter months. On the highest shelf, rarely touched, are jars of pickled vegetables, green cucumbers, pale onions, and red cabbage that catches the light like stained glass. All of this, the shelves, the jars, the boxes, is not merely for holding food. It is a quiet safeguard, a promise that meals will come, that the household is prepared, and that each day will unfold with steady provision. At the heart of the Victorian kitchen, both in place and in spirit, stands the hearth. Its stones are darkened with the memory of countless fires, each one tending the life of the household. A heavy iron grate rests in the opening, its bars warmed from the gentle heat. Here, wood and coal take on their quiet transformation, crackling softly, breathing their faint, smoky perfume into the air. Above the grate, a blackened iron kettle hangs from a hook. Its rounded belly reflects the flicker of flame, and the water inside hums quietly, a sound that speaks of tea soon to come. On the hearthstone, a Dutch oven squats low, its lid fitted tight to hold in the slow heat. Inside, perhaps a stew, potatoes, carrots, and a joint of meat tender from hours of patient cooking. The hearth is not only for cooking. It is the keeper of warmth on a cold morning, the comforter on a long winter's night. Its glow is the first light seen when rising before dawn, and the last to fade before sleep. Near the coals, a trivet holds a small pot of milk to warm for porridge. The slow heating coaxes a sweetness from it, turning it pale gold at the edges. The walls around the hearth tell their own quiet story. A faint smoke stain rising toward the chimney, nails hammered in long ago to hang ladles, and the ghostly outlines of objects that have always been kept in the same place. In the evenings, a chair may be drawn close to the fire. The day's work set aside, hands are warmed, and quiet conversation hums low against the sound of the flames. When the fire is banked for the night, it leaves behind a faint red glow, like the last heartbeat of the day. In that stillness, the hearth becomes more than stone and iron. It becomes the soul of the home. The last light of day softens to a dim glow, and the kitchen begins its quiet retreat into night. Every surface seems to sigh in the stillness, as if the room itself knows that the day's work is done. The table is cleared, wiped with a damp cloth, and left to dry in the fading light. The wood, dark from years of use, gives off a faint, comforting scent that mingles with the lingering aroma of the evening meal. Pots are hung back in their places, each one darkened with a patina earned from countless meals. The rhythm of hanging them, one after another, is slow and steady, a ritual as much as a task. The fire is banked, coals pushed close together to hold a little warmth through the night. A faint orange glow remains, like the quiet heartbeat of the house. On the counter, a loaf of bread is wrapped in cloth, tucked safely for the next day. Its crust is cool now, but the faint smell of baked grain still lingers in the air. The jars and tins sit in silence on their shelves. By now, the room is lit only by the faint gold of a single candle, casting gentle halos across glass and polished metal. A soft rustle of fabric, an apron untied and folded away. This is the final act of the day, the moment the kitchen rests completely. In the stillness, you can almost hear the house breathe. The walls, the shelves, the old stones of the floor, all holding the memory of countless nights like this one. The candle is blown out. Darkness settles in, and the Victorian kitchen falls into a deep, familiar sleep, waiting for another day to begin.